Purple Rain Anniversary. Does Prince's cult classic movie hold up? Well, that couldn't stand. So film critic, his group is one of the top bands at a high-profile nightclub, along with rival Morris Day and The Time, and the kid becomes enamored you, as does every dude around you, of an up-and-coming young singer Apollonia Catiro. Sex, hard, the two staffers weigh in on their Virgin Purple. Patrick Ryan. So, Brian, what's your excuse for not having seen Purple? Brian Truitt. I was waiting to watch it with you, so you could be the Jerome to my Morris Day. But, really, Patrick, I'm right there with you. As much as I admire Prince, I've always been more of a David Bowie or Michael Jackson guy. And for no discern, Brian Anobe. Not that it's all bad. Patrick Huger. There were so many. Brian, he's pretty jerky to everybody around him, especially to his fellow musicians, as well as my personal favorite dude, Morris. But I was floored by Patrick, the blatant misogyny and violence against women, you not only by the kid, but when Morris literally has an ex-girlfriend thrown into a dumpster, you was super uncomfortable to watch. That said, Brian, as well as something in 1984 probably would handle it, I'd imagine. The stuff with his dad, Patrick, I found myself pretty misty-eyed during Purple. Brian, it's not a good movie, and let's not compare it to Rocky. Patrick, I was left with one burning question, though: when did the kid find time to light 23? Yes, I counted a candles before bringing Apollonia to bed. Did he really hit Brian? That's a good question. I'll ponder it as soon.
Raindrop, drop top, smoking, no cooking the hot pot. Fucking on your bitch, yeah, that. Looking up, open the park pot.